Thank you for listening to Discovering the Scriptures. Currently, we are in Daniel chapter 7, verse 26. I'll read the first version in King James. Quote, "But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end." Unquote. Reading now from the Young's Literal Translation. Quote, "But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end." Unquote. Thank you for listening to Discovering the Scriptures with Dr. Peter John. Currently, we're approaching Daniel 7:21 through the end of the chapter. Now this is important because we're now about to look at what is going to happen. This part made Daniel so curious that he had to find out exactly what it meant. Not the other stuff, this. And then we're going to see how it relates to the book of Revelation and the end times. Now we have a lot to present. I do to you. And we have a lot to digest, both of us. So I'm suggesting that you go into prayer and that you ask the Lord to teach you with his wisdom through the Holy Spirit's teaching, and that you hear it and prepare yourself for something great. Because Daniel wrote this in the Chaldean court language, and this is the end of it where he goes back into Hebrew. Why? I was thinking about that this morning. I think Daniel did that to tell the world this section of the scripture in his writing is for everyone, not just the Jews. Everyone. And I think as we go along, we're going to find out that that's exactly true. Because we're going to see things in Revelations 19 and 20. We're going to see things in Revelations 11. There are a lot of things that we're going to see. And it's all because it relates. So this was given to not just Daniel, but to John. And we have other prophecies that will relate to these things. We're approaching the end times. We're approaching the last days. Does this take place today, tomorrow, next month? You be the judge. I present all the information, all the evidence, and you make up your own mind. With that, I ask for your prayers, because this is definitely a very dangerous area, and the devil has done his best to keep me sick and down and out as far as my health goes, fatigued, and all these great things. A lot of it has to do with the COVID-19 shots that I had to take, because my immune system has been so devastated from chemo, from my cancers. So I did what the doctors recommended after talking it over with my spouse, and it took a toll on me like I never expected. So with that, please continue to pray for me. I have the wisdom and the health to be able to go forward. Thank you. God bless. Okay, let's look at the interlinear raw translation to see what we can draw from there. Quote, "To and destroy, to consume, they shall take away, and his dominion shall be seated, but court thee forever." Forever, unquote. Now let's look at this. To is just a proposition, and destroy is a conjunctive preposition. It's a hyphael, so it's an infinitive construct. So it's destroying, basically. To consume, remember this is Aramaic, it's hyphael, verb, infinite construct. To consume, to be consuming. So to be destroying and to be consuming. They shall take away. That is a hyphael imperfect, third person masculine plural. So they shall take away. That's pretty plain there for that one. Don't need to go anywhere. Okay, now the next, and his dominion. That is a noun, masculine singular construct, third person masculine singular. So they're talking about this dominion as belonging to a masculine, a male, a person, and his dominion. So they shall be destroying, they shall consume, they shall take away his dominion. Shall be seated, quail, imperfect, third person masculine singular. So casually shall be seated. So they'll take away his dominion, and casually shall be seated. Next, but court thee, that is a masculine singular determinate to noun, forever. That there is a noun masculine singular determinate. So what we have here, we have a very egotistic person who is declaring this dominion to be his and his own. So he's not looking at God at all. It's all him, very humanistic. And we have here a prophecy talking about they shall be destroying and they shall be consuming and they shall take away his dominion. It shall be seated. So he's casually seated on his dominion, and then he finds it being taken away and consumed. But the court forever. So it'll be taken away forever. He'll never gain it back. He'll not go back into power. That's what this verse is going into. Now, how does this relate? Now remember, Daniel started writing Aramaic in chapter 2. He's going to switch back over to the Hebrew, where he did originally start his book in. At the end of this chapter, he's going to finish up the Aramaic and go right into Hebrew. So now we need to look at this verse and see if there's any cross-referencing. Now I'm going to review a couple things here for you to help you out, because remember, I'm here to give you the information for you to make up your own mind. We've parsed this verse out. We have read it in the King James and the Young's Literal Translation. When you look at other experts, quote-unquote, Bible study from this, you can either make up your mind that they're directing this correctly or they're misinterpreting it. This one here that I'm looking at goes and says this relates to Daniel 7:10-11, Daniel 7:22, 2 Thessalonians 2:8, Revelations 11:13, Revelations 20:10-11. The reason I go so quick with those, it does not. It does not at all. If you look at this, you cannot say that these relate to those exactly. You also cannot relate that this belongs to the Ancient of Days and the Judgment. You can't relate that this belongs to the devil and deceiving and being cast in the fire and brimstone. That's after the 1,000 years. You can't relate that this is his dominion, that's when Jesus comes back and then before the devil's cast into the lake of fire. You can't do this. It doesn't give you that. This verse does not give you that much information. Now, does it do it in its surrounding verses? In the surrounding verses, you could, but not from this verse alone. You cannot do that. So it's not appropriate to look at the cross-referencing now. We'll actually look into it the next verse when we can connect the two. But studying just this verse, there's not enough there to take it and add it on. That's why it's very important to look at this in reference to the paragraph that it's written. Where are we going with this? Do we need to study something down the road, or do we need to study it now? What we need to see is we need to look at this verse for what it gives us. And what it gives us is it gives us a person who's egotistic, not giving God any of the glory, looking at this dominion as his. And then there will be a judgment on him. And then it will be a consuming and destroying as he casually sits on his seat to the end. So he's going to be rudely shocked because it will have been consumed and destroyed, and he'll lose his dominion, is what we have here in this verse. This is why I like John Gill's commentary. John Gill saw the same thing I just saw. You can't go forward when you're looking at this verse. You can't pull all those cross-referencing out of this verse. Can you on the next one? Maybe, but not from this one. So it's studying just this verse, which is important, because we have to lay the foundation. You have to get your ABCs before you can get your sentences. So here we go. Let's read this to you, and you'll see it. Quote, but the judgment shall set. In other words, the judgment will happen. It is written in stone. It will take place. And then he correlates it, as in Daniel 7:10. Now, reading Daniel 7:10, I'm going to read you Daniel 7:9 and 10. So you can understand he's correlating. This is similar to this. King James Bible, quote, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fierce flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fierce stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. Unquote. So he's correlating this, that this is exactly what we read in this one. So Daniel, when he says judgment is set in this verse 26, he means the same thing as he did when he wrote it in verse 7:10 in Aramaic. We're trying to get the understanding. What does he mean? And since he wrote this twice in Daniel 7:10 and Daniel 7:26, it means that this is set. This is something that's going to happen. So let's go forward. The court shall sit, the judge shall take the bench, and all things be prepared for the arraignment, trial, condemnation, and punishment of the little horn or Antichrist, when the above time is up. God the Father, the Ancient of Days, and Christ, said to be the Son of Man, brought near to him, shall sit as judges, attended by the holy angels. And they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. Either the angels, or rather the saints of the Most High, particularly the Christian princes, into whose hearts God will put it to hate the whore, eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, so that there shall be an utter end of Antichrist. He shall be stripped of all his power and authority. His destruction will be inevitable, irrecoverable. He shall never come out of it, and it shall consume to the end of the world, to the end of time. Unquote. Now, John Gill is leading into the next verse on this verse. He's laying the foundation, and he's showing you where he's going. Because when we get into the next verse, you're going to see this. We are definitely talking about the end times. But when we study a particular verse, we need to focus on what's going on in that verse. We need to see it in context. So we do know that John Gill did proper. He is examining this verse, how Daniel wrote it in the Aramaic, because this is a unique book. It's not Hebrew like the Old Testament. It's not Greek like the New Testament. It's Aramaic. So we have to view this particular book, this section, to see what does he mean. And we did just that. This judgment is set basically in stone. It's going to happen. And then he's telling you what's basically going to happen into the next verse. He's laying his foundation. And that's a proper Bible study. We can see that this does relate to the end times that we read in Revelation. It does relate to Daniel 7:10, where the judgment is set. So we have an understanding that this is proper. None of this forecasting of other verses and other chapters without having it there in the verse. Now stay tuned, because we're going to go further in the next verse into this, and you're going to see how all this relates. But we have to lay the foundation. We can't just jump around. That's not proper Bible study. There's a lot here. And what we've seen is that this egotistic person, this man, because it is masculine, has his dominion. He's egotistic. It's all his. It's been consumed. It's been destroyed. The judgment is set in stone, and he'll never get it back. Never. Is this the Antichrist? Probably. But we have seen rulers in countries where they have declared that the dominion, their kingdom, their country is theirs. And they're so egotistic, you could never reason them down. But in the end, they are destroyed. Because when they get puffed up, God removes them. As we have seen time and time again. And even in the last few years, we have seen this. And it will continue to be there that way. Because there's nothing new under the earth. And the Antichrist will be the same way. Because man never seems to learn. Now, please hit the ads that you see on my channel so that I can get a stipend from the advertisers. It does help. Besides that, they have elected to advertise their goods here on this channel. And I thank them for it, for those that are healthy. And I do ask that you hit the like button if you like it. If you have any comments, need any prayer, please put those in there. so we can pray for you and keep us updated. Hit the subscribe button down below and the bell button. That'll tell you when more of this is happening. God's transferring me over to the insurance career, so I'll have more time to be able to devote to this ministry. Thank God. And please tell your other friends about this so they can walk through the Bible verse by verse in an audio commentary. And I'll give you the presentation. I'll give you all the facts. And like Perry Mason, and you can go to court and you can take all the evidence and you can weigh it out yourself and get an idea of what is the meanings. And it's easy because I'll give it out to you. Therefore, continue to pray and ask the Lord to give you the wisdom through the Holy Spirit, our teacher. Meditate upon the Word through the day. Pray upon it. And God will give you the enlightenment. It might not be today, might not be next month, it might not be next year, but He will. So keep asking in faith and make sure you have no prayer hindrances in your way. Continue to pray for me, please, that God keeps me in good health. And God bless you all.